Welcome to Now Found. My name is Courtney Cohen. Can we really hear God speaking? Can we really hear God speaking today? In the first 3 chapters of Genesis, the book of beginnings, we can see how God spoke to so many creatures, spiritual, physical. There were so many people that he was speaking to. He spoke to himself as a triune being. He spoke to man. He spoke to woman. He spoke to the serpent. He spoke to so many people, and it was very direct. It wasn't mysterious. It was just simply his voice speaking. When he was speaking, he stated his intentions for mankind. He gave them direction. He gave them their consequences. He told them how they were called to live in this world. He declared that it is not good for man to be alone. He confronted evil when it entered the world. He gave consequences of their rebellion, and he also gave promises of restoration. Now, all throughout Scripture, we see God speaking, and sometimes it seemed to be kind of a normal conversation, but other times he would speak in very odd ways where it would take people a little bit to figure out what is happening, who's speaking, what's going on here. And he doesn't mind showing up in unusual ways at all. He enjoys popping up in whatever manifestation is going to grab our attention at that moment. Now, here's the thing about hearing God. Communication, we know, is so vital for every relationship. To have a healthy relationship, we need to be able to communicate clearly with those that we are in relationship with. So I want you to imagine with me a couple, a man and woman separated by war. Man goes off to war, the woman is at home, and they correspond through letters. They correspond through letters. They are not physically present with one another, but their love grows despite the distance. Those letters become the way that they communicate their character, their nature, their desires, their longings, their love. That is exactly what the Bible is for us. It is not simply a list of rules, of do's and don'ts to just lay a burden on us. This is a love letter. This is God entering history to intersect with our lives, to infuse himself into our lives. This is a love letter. And while we may not always physically feel his presence close by, simply by hearing his voice through Scripture and through his Spirit speaking to us, we can be reassured of his character and of his nature. God did not stop speaking when the Bible was canonized. God is still speaking today. He is still speaking, and we can hear him. We need to take every word that we hear by our Spirit, from his Spirit, and we can set it next to Scripture to weigh its authenticity and its character. Does this match up with the nature of God that we see in the Scripture? It's so important that we do weigh anything that we do sense against the Bible, because God's voice isn't the only one that's speaking. We also hear our own voice. We hear voices of other people around us, and we hear the voice of the enemy. So we need to be really reassured who we are listening to. Let's lean in with sensitive hearts to the voice of God. My latest book, The Sacred Shadow, is newly released. This is an invitation for you to enter into the daily mystery of God's kingdom right here and right now. The Sacred Shadow provides ongoing insight as to how to experience God in this world with all of the busyness and the distractions and this life that we live in. How do we experience God here? How do we experience his kingdom here and now? This place that we indwell, this is simply a picture of a deeper reality. God is like a teacher in a classroom who points to an illustration up on the blackboard. That illustration points to a deeper reality. It points to something that is realer than the chalk marks on the wall. And that's what God does for us through everything that we experience through our senses here in this world. I want to encourage you to go check out The Sacred Shadow at thesacredshadow.com. Be sure to visit nowfound.org for more free resources. And I just want to thank you so much for being here with me today. Remember, you are never too lost to be found.